Today we're going to hear from Chris Rozansky. He's Executive Director of the Naples Airport Authority. He joined the authority in 2016, where he oversees a dynamic community asset that services more than $1 billion worth of aircraft on any given day. It ranks among the top busiest airports for private jet activity in the nation. He has quite a bit of experience in airports all over the country. He's an alumnus of The Ohio State University. He's been selected as a top 40 under 40 honoree by the Airport Business magazine. He was just named by the Florida Department of Transportation their Aviation Professional of the Year. He serves on the National Air Transportation Association's Board of Directors and is a vice chair on the AAAE General Aviation Committee. So please welcome Chris.
Thank you so much, Kathy. Good afternoon. I've spoken to a lot of groups over the years, and I've been here in Naples for 7 years. I can't believe this is the first time we're giving brief presentation here today. But I have to say, what an incredible group this is. I'm just so impressed and grateful that we have something like this here in Naples. So I appreciate that warm introduction. Yes, the airport, one of the most telling stats about our airport is that on any given day in season, there are more than $1 billion worth of aluminum that flies through on a given day. Notice I said aluminum. That doesn't include the net worth of the folks on board. So think about the impact that that has throughout our community. In the early days, the 1919 aircraft, because we had no airport, landed on the fairway. Yes, that's a golf course on the left. And even the beach. You notice how they were dressed so formally. So the airport did get its start as an Army air base, pre-air conditioning, my goodness. And you can see the airport was developed all the way at the edge of civilization back in the early 40s on the other side of the Gordon River. So a little bit about the Naples Airport Authority. We are a special district as defined by the state of Florida, created at the request of the Naples City Council in 1969. We're what's considered a dependent special district, though, that we have a 5-member board of commissioners who are appointed by the Naples City Council. And then I report to those 5 commissioners, and we have a staff of it varies seasonally, but roughly 140 employees. So I've already mentioned one stat, and I'm sorry it's a little tough for me to see, but the state of Florida just conducted an updated annual economic impact study. They do this for every airport across the state. And our prior to this, our impact was $440 million annually, increased though to about $781 million annually. It's no secret, Naples has become a lot more popular. Private air travel has become increasingly popular since COVID, and of course, with the economy we've had the past few years. We have a budget of roughly more than $65 million operating in capital. Most important to know is that's paid for with operating revenues that we generate on the airport. There are no local taxes that go towards the operation of this airport. So we charge for fees for fuel and other hangars and other related services, and that goes right back into the operation. So it is financially self-sustaining. There is a portion, we do receive state and federal grants for the improvement of runways and things like that. Something I'm sure many of you would be interested to hear is that every gallon of fuel sold on the airport comes with a fuel tax. That goes into the state and federal transportation trust funds. Well, our customers here are a net payer into those trust funds. Our customers pay more into the system, more than $3 million a year than we receive back in grants on an annual basis. We get an average a little more than $2 million a year in grants. So like many other things, Naples is a net contributor into those transportation trust funds. Also worth mentioning, everybody thinks of the airport synonymously with the Winter Wine Festival, and it is a busy weekend. It's not the busiest weekend, the holiday weekends are. But I think you all know about the legacy of the Winter Wine Festival and its philanthropic effect and the benefit throughout the community. That there's been more than 244 million raised that is directly, there is a connection there between philanthropy in the community and the convenience of having such a great airport so close to downtown. Something else that doesn't get talked about much either, we've estimated that the airport serves about 200,000 passengers per year in our little airport, right in our community. And 80% of those folks are homeowners here in Collier County, the vast majority, of course, within the city of Naples. Yes, there is tourism, but the airport predominantly serves property owners here. We did just recently embark upon a renovation of our main terminal. We call it the General Aviation Terminal. It's where folks come and go if they don't have a place to park their hangar on the airport. Keeping up with the changes in Naples, we went to we call it coastal modern. We brought some of the outside and indoors with an actual living wall and some locally commissioned art, more or less pointing people towards the direction of the beach. So I think many of you understand airports help support tourism, business, but they also facilitate trade. We do serve a function of flight training. So I'm sure all of you, perhaps many of you, were affected by the delays and cancellations of airlines over the past year or two. So all of those airline flight crews got their start at an airport like the one we have here in Naples, performing an important function. You wouldn't want those same pilots doing their flight training at RSW or Tampa or Orlando. So the system of airports throughout the U.S. does play an important role in serving all the needs of the aviation system. Of course, we have public services like the sheriff and mosquito control. And if you've ever enjoyed the Greenway, we have this amenity in part because of the airport, because without having the requirement to protect airspace, there might be some other sort of development there that would have precluded the development of the Greenway. So we were affected by Ian, as many people have here in the community. We had upwards of 4 feet of surge on the airport. Fortunately, we were able to get it back to an operating condition only 48 hours after that photo. Thank you. We have an incredible team of employees back at the airport. The city's fire department, which is on the airport, literally helped spray the runways off because we did find fish and debris and everything else you might find. But getting the airport back open was so important because we did see relief come into the airport right away. And it wasn't the US government, it wasn't the military. It was nonprofits and people who just had such great empathy for our community that quickly began flying relief in from all over the country, really. We even had one company bring in, I don't know how they did this, but they were still hot Chick-fil-A breakfast sandwiches that they flew, that we took in a truck and sent down to East Naples and said, go, please hand this out, get this to people that need it most. So you can see a little bit of that there. So with all the benefits of the airport comes the noise impact. We all know that. The airport, what's challenging about noise in a community airport is the fact that we are federally regulated. Runways at airports in the US are regulated in the same way that interstate highways are protected. We at the local level don't have the lawful ability to say, close it down at 10 p.m. or enact other restrictions on the use of the airport. We do have a voluntary nighttime curfew that we promote aggressively, and we have about 99% compliance with that. So we have undertaken a noise study, and it's a federally regulated process. It has some limitations. it doesn't account for seasonality. It looks at annual averages. So that puts us at a disadvantage when we're trying to make a case to the FAA that we have a noise problem that we need to try and make some accommodation for. So I want to give some credit to Councilwoman Beth Petronoff. She serves as the liaison from the Naples City Council to the Airport Authority's Noise Committee, and has spent many meetings and hours trying to work with us on the noise study to try and affect some change. So when you have an airport in a densely developed area that has development already surrounding the airport, what you're really left to be able to try and do with a noise study is try and work with the FAA on some flight procedural changes. We can't make airplanes choose another airport or go somewhere else. The people flying into that airport I mentioned are homeowners here, and they want to come to Naples. Naples is their final destination. You might have heard a rumor that people land here in Naples but drive over to Miami because it's cheaper in Naples. Well, that's really not true. People with access to private air travel don't fly 2 hours from the Northeast or Midwest to have to hop in a car across the alley to save a few bucks on fuel or a landing fee. It just doesn't happen. So it's difficult. We're between a rock and a hard place between wanting to be an advocate for the community while protecting the benefits that the airport provides. This is the process we have to do it. And our board of commissioners is working diligently. We'll be even advocating for some potential legislative changes that you might hear about in the very near future. Be discussed at our board meeting next week on next Thursday, the 19th. So that is my presentation. I hope I didn't go over. I thank you so much for your time. And we'll be here if you want to chat or have any questions. One last thing, a plug. We love to do tours. So if you'd like to bring any group out, come out for a tour. And if you have teenage children, grandchildren, there's some programs we can help get them connected with as well that might open up opportunities to a future career. So thank you again.
Thank you, Chris.